Hello friends, welcome to the Tartarian Meltdown documentary. In this documentary I am going to do my best attempt to reveal one of the biggest secrets of this realm. As you hopefully know, we are being fed lies and false narratives by the mainstream science group and education systems. And I'm gonna show you something that was hidden right in front of our noses our whole lives. You may not agree to what I'm gonna show you immediately, but I suggest you to give this documentary a chance, as there is a big possibility that you will change your mind along the way. I find this information very important, and it will give the right minds a better understanding of their history and reality. This will require you to really listen to my words and study the pictures I'm gonna show you. This will also require you to forget everything you were told by your history teacher and mainstream geologists for a minute. And keep your mind as open as you can, as I'm gonna explain to you what I see when I look at some of the so-called rock formations and also some of the buildings that we can find all across this realm. Remember, I am just a messenger. You are the one who are now listening to this message. You are the one who's gonna have to decide if you agree or not. All of the pictures presented in this documentary is found on the internet, as I am unable to travel to these locations and take pictures for myself, because there is another big lie going on at the moment, which includes face masks and body injections. But that's another rabbit hole for another time. I do not know where all these pictures are taken, so I'm not gonna say too much about the locations, because it really doesn't matter. The buildings and the damage are all the same everywhere. But I guarantee you that all the photos are real, and you can go to these locations and see for yourself. So, let's get started. Let's get to the fun and interesting part. I'm gonna first start off by trying to make you understand that there was an advanced civilization here in the past, which nobody in the so-called education system told you about. In mainstream history class, we are told that the ancient civilizations were uneducated and dumb-ass cavemen who like to hit each other with sticks, right? What if I said that couldn't be further from the truth? What if the mainstream history class were specifically designed to hide something from us? Something very important. A truth that reveals the whole fraudulent education system of the modern day alone. We are about to dive deep into the rabbit hole of a past advanced civilization, so buckle up. The evidence of their existence is all around us. The crazy part is how it was only hidden by words of lies. I'm gonna keep showing you pictures here of some buildings while I speak. But not just any kind of buildings. You will see that many of these buildings have a repeated architecture, and we can find them all across this realm. The United States, Europe, Little Norway, Africa, the Middle East, Russia, Japan, Australia. You get it, everywhere. And for that to be possible, all the civilizations across this realm at that time had to know each other and communicate with each other, right? But have you ever thought the thought that it could have been just one civilization everywhere? That's right, a civilization so huge, so well established and advanced that they built their buildings everywhere. And they were not just buildings. I believe them to be machines and electrical devices. Try to pay attention to the domes, spires, towers, columns, etc. of these buildings. I'm gonna tell you a little secret. Shh. If you look at a city from a bird's eye view and compare them with a circuit board on a computer, it looks identical. Identical. Here, let me show you. This is a city. This is a circuit board. This is another city. This is many circuit boards put together. Do you see it? Here's another one, just to make sure. Circuit board. City. Crazy, right? Previously, I mentioned that I believe these buildings to be machines and electrical components. When you look at the patterns of this universe with an open mind, you'll start to notice that everything looks electric. The human body, leaves, sea creatures, trees, and rivers, just to give some examples. Do these patterns mean that this universe and/or realm is all made up by electricity? Just think about it. Every living thing needs water and energy to be able to live. Energy. Here is a few quotes from Nikola Tesla, who mysteriously were removed from mainstream education systems. If you don't know who it is, I suggest you to look him up. It shouldn't be difficult. Quote 1. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Quote 2. The day science begins to study non-physical phenomena, it will make more progress in 1 decade than in all the previous centuries of its existence. Quote 3. Earth is a realm, it is not a planet. It is not an object, therefore it has no edge. Earth would be more easily defined as a system environment. Earth is also a machine, it is a Tesla coil. The sun and moon are powered wirelessly with the electromagnetic field, the ether. This field also suspends the celestial spheres with electromagnetic levitation. Electromagnetic levitation disproves gravity because the only force you need to counter is the electromagnetic force, not gravity. Though free to think and act, we are held together like stars in the firmament. Remember the word ether. It's gonna be handy for you later in this documentary. Not gonna say too much about Nikola Tesla in this video, but he was a scientist who was born in 1856 and he died in 1943. I believe him to have reinvented some of the technology from the old world. One of the most important inventions are the free energy from the ether, etheric energy that can be harnessed and stored completely for free. Listen, if this is true, then why the fuck are we using cabled electricity which we have to pay for? The answer is simple. Greed and power-hungry parasites have turned humanity into modern-day slaves. The worst part is, they don't even know they are slaves. This realm has become a huge mental asylum. It seems like the ancient civilization, which we call Tartaria, knew all about this place and how it works. I'll show you more of their architecture while I explain more. The parasites are using extremely big amounts of energy and effort to hide the intelligence of the past civilization from you. They want you to believe in the nonsensical evolution theory and how we are at the peak of human intelligence right now. This is false information. There is a big reason why they want you to believe in the nonsense theories like evolution and Big Bang. It is to make you feel insignificant and worthless. They want you to believe that you came from a cosmic accident and that your existence is pointless. Hopefully this documentary can help you to understand that you are in fact a divine being of consciousness. You are life itself, experiencing itself. And don't bring the popular so-called holy books into this way of thinking. Those are also mind control devices designed so you willingly give away your power to authorities like governments or made-up beings like invisible sky daddies in the clouds. People need to understand that no people can tell us what to do, whether it is some criminal pedophile in the government or some creepy sky wizard who are taking notes of your life and judging you. People need to understand that we are the only one who's here. Just look around. This place is for me, for you, and everybody else. Nobody owns this place. This is a realm, and this realm is supposed to provide everything we need. There is plenty of untouched and uninhabited land everywhere. Food can be grown everywhere, and clean water flows from the melted buildings all around us. Melted buildings? I'll get to that later. Listen, this is very simple. If there suddenly were no man-made laws or rules, would you have gone full Rambo and killed every guy you saw? Of course not. That's not what humans do. That's what mentally ill people do. That's what criminals do, whether we have these man-made constructs or not. I'm gonna give a little input on gun laws while we're at it. So, most people are not allowed to own guns, right? That means there is only two groups of people who will have guns: governments and criminals. But since the governments are criminals, it's really just one group of people. How do you defend yourself against insane people with guns when you don't have a gun? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Good. Now let's move on. Let's look at some more of these old buildings, so I can change your perception of reality the next time you take a walk through your town. 'Cause I know you have seen these buildings before. You just need to look at them properly. Most of these buildings are said to be built in the late 1800s by the mainstream, but proper research says that's another lie. One reason is how there is zero photographs of the construction of these buildings, and cameras have existed since the mid-1800s. If you were able to build some of these magnificent buildings, and you had a camera lying around, wouldn't you be proud and maybe take a picture or two? Just see today, people are so proud of themselves that their phones have 210 extra pictures on the camera roll after a trip to the bathroom. Another thing that's weird with these kind of buildings is how almost all of them seems to be buried in what many people call mud. I'll show you some pictures. It seems that there have been an event here in the past that resulted in these buildings being buried and damaged, some of them more than others. And this event seems to have happened worldwide. Now, get ready for the really exciting part, because now we are gonna talk a little bit about how we think the old world empire were wiped out and erased from his story. We're also soon gonna look into the melted buildings, which is a mind blower if you got the mind capacity to understand it. This old world empire seems to have been around for thousands of years before they were wiped out. You'll hopefully soon understand what I mean by that. According to independent research, it seems like some cataclysmic event happened not that long ago, which got rid of the old world civilization and most of their buildings. We call it the X Factor event. It is believed that the parasites are the cause of this event. The old world were all based on love, peace and unity, and for some reason, Someone didn't like that construct. So they somehow managed to wipe out most of the Tartarian Empire so they could introduce their new world order. The hellhole we live in now. The hellhole where everything is based on tyranny, greed and slavery. These parasites seems to be feeding off of our pain, suffering and misery, which means they need to constantly create a living hell here to be able to survive. That's why we call them parasites, because they are just very parasitic. Who they are or where they came from is something I do not know, but I know that a beautiful world existed here before they were involved with us, and I'm gonna try to prove it for you. We have looked into some of the architecture of the old world. We're gonna look at it a bit more. Just now we're gonna look at the damage on these buildings. We have been distracted from this truth by movies, television, fake news stories, other lies, social media, politics, and video games. As I said earlier, the parasites are doing a lot of effort to make you forget to pay attention to your surroundings and your reality. Like I showed you earlier, this realm seems to be built like a circuit board on a computer, where the buildings acted as the components on this circuit board. A worldwide electric city, if you will. If you got the eyes to see, it is very clear that something crazy happened here in the past. I'll show you. Get ready and enjoy. Okay guys, are you ready to dive deep and listen to me trying to explain the destruction of the old world, what we call the X Factor event? So now I do the screen recording because I'm gonna do some drawing here eventually to point out different important sections of different photos. So this part of the documentary, when I do the screen recording like this, is not gonna be scripted like previously on the documentary. I haven't pre-written anything, I'm just gonna speak freely here. So the style is gonna be slightly different, but I'll try to keep it as similar as I can to the previous section of the documentary. So we're gonna look into what destroyed the old world and the evidence of the destruction that we can find everywhere across this plane. So what you see in front of you here is a depiction, and it is a depiction of this this so-called cathedral that we have seen in Moscow. Everybody knows this thing here, right? This building, which is obviously from the old world. But what this depiction illustrates is how this is the ground level, right? So if you look at this with a little open mind, okay, and listen to what I'm trying to say here. When you look at this construction, it looks like all we see here is the very top of something, right? But this illustration here gives us what can be, or what may be, the whole building here. But it's way the fuck down here, right? We walk on top here, on top of here. Here we are, you know, small little humans. And what we see is just the tip. Just the very tip here. The rest of the building is down below, okay? So this ground, so-called ground here, where this man is walking, is what many people call mud or dirt, right? They call it dirt or mud. And I will try to prove to you that it's actually not mud. It's not land. It's not earth. It's building melt. Yeah, that's right. You heard that right. It's building melt. Building flood. Melted building flood. Brick flood. Whatever you wanna call it, okay? It's not land. None of us in this place have ever seen the real land, the real ground. We have never seen the earth. All we have seen is the very top of some buildings and then just building flood everywhere. There is no such thing as mountains, caves, beaches, islands, continents, all that kind of shit doesn't exist. It is what it really is just building melt that remained above the floodwaters. Because it seems like during or after the worldwide meltdown of this place actually got flooded too. It may have been fail-safe floodwaters to cool down this place, because it was hot. I will show you. It was fucking hot. No, it's God's flood. No, don't even try, okay? Don't try. It's not God's flood. It's the realm. This place is something we don't quite understand, to be honest. But no bearded man poured water on us to drown us. Yeah, but it's written in the Bible. It's written in the Bible. Yeah, I can also write a book and say wild stuff, you know. I can write whatever the fuck I want, okay? So I'm gonna give you my honest opinion on what I see and what I think, and then again it's up to you to decide if there is any truth to this or not, okay? So let's keep it simple. I'll try to go slow, and I'll try to be clear here, so you can understand this, because we are about to see something pretty crazy. Alright? Are you ready? Okay. So, what do you think when you see stuff like this, for example? Do you think some primitive people came and carried up a lot of bricks here to build a goddamn bridge like this into nowhere, like for no reason at all? Is that what you think you see here? Because I see something completely different. I see what we call a pocket of survival. And the pocket of survival is, of course, this bridge. This is not just a bridge that was built here on top of so-called mountains. That's not what I see. I see a bridge here that survived the X Factor event. Which means that these other formations here, this stuff, it used to be buildings, right? This used to be buildings, which is of course very damaged, and so damaged that it's beyond recognition. But I will keep showing you pictures, and I hope I can make you see what I see here eventually when we move further on. Just bear with me, okay? Give this a chance. I know it sounds crazy, but give it a chance. You don't have anything better to do than listen to this and watch this anyways, cause everyone is locked down. Locked up. Like prisoners. So here again, let's see. What do we see here? A building. Red brick, of course, the usual. They always built by the red bricks. That's what people also need try to recognize when I show you these pictures. I'll show you, okay? So here you have the pocket of survival. But what we see here is, what is this fucking mess here? Why is it something coming here from this side, you know? Looks like a wave, right? That covered this building before it densified, and now it's rock solid. It's rock solid here. This is all building melt. Heat coming up from the bottom, starting to mangle this whole thing. It was a building all around here. Look here how it's just waves of melt, but it densified very fast. That's the crazy part about this event. Everything, or most of everything, was like viscous and liquid flowing, and then suddenly the heat just got away very fast. Just like the heat just turned off very fast, it looks like, because here this is a brick flood or melt flood coming from this side, of course, flowing this way, starting to cover this building and starting to, you know, fall over here and down, but it densified mid-air, so it created what we call a rock curtain here. So it's flowing mid-air. It just stopped very fucking fast. It's a crazy event, this X Factor. And what you see in the background here, this is also buildings that's been melted, believe it or not. Melted down. This is not a mountain, that's just what you have been told by pedophiles. So yeah, just melted buildings here. I'm sorry, some of the photos have these watermarks because it's impossible to find some of the pictures without, unless you buy the pictures, but I'm not gonna do that, of course. So what we see here is a wall, right? You can see this is a wall. But you have to pay attention to this wall, because what you can see is, bam, red bricks. Or red bricks. Yeah, you see them all around here. Look at this one. This got heat expanded. Rock balloon, started to rock balloon here. Heat expansion, it was viscous and it starts to blow up like a goddamn balloon, okay? Here, this one, rock balloon, turned into this stone. The color is changing when this happens, because they get so thoroughly cooked that the red color, the carbon-14 gets cooked out, squeezed out of this red brick, so they turn into what they call stone. But stones don't exist. This is not stones, this is devastated and destroyed red bricks. More red bricks here. More red bricks, okay. So just imagine here, if you wanted to build something here, build a goddamn wall like this, would you ever do this? Do you see how ugly and disgusting this looks? Instead of using bricks all the way. Right? You can clearly see they had access to bricks here. Only they are damaged, of course, but they used to be perfect bricks. But they got heat damaged. Heat came from the bottom and started to climb through this wall and mangling the bricks. And they got fucked. Here again, you see how the bricks turned into blocks here, or stones, rocks, whatever. Blocks, stones and rocks, but you still see some of them manage to survive for some reason. I don't know why these 3 bricks here survived. There is more red here. Here is a brick. You can see them. Here is a tiny one down there. And here is another building from the old world. And what you see is this is what we call popcorn blocks, because sometimes they pop out of the wall because of heat expansion and stuff. They don't. They just pop right out because of because they don't fit anymore. You know, they grow in size and then they just pop out. It's just how the physics for this X Factor event works. It's crazy. You'll see some crazy shit that's almost unbelievable, but it is what it is. So this is you can recognize the architecture. It's from the old world, and all this used to be red bricks, but the heat came and fucked the building and turned it into this. This is the damage. This was never built like this. And then of course you have the flood waters here. It's flooded as well. You don't build in water. You don't. I'll show you proof of the flood as well. And here, this is the top of one of the pyramids, and this was also built with red brick. But they are very cooked here, and so dry because of the heat. All dried up, no mortar left, and they turn into big blocks. Heat expansion. Okay, so the pyramids was never built with big ass fucking blocks like they tell you. It's nonsense. It was all built by red brick. And don't ask me how many red brick they needed to build them, but that's what they did. The old world, they were incredibly well established and advanced. They built wild structures. And the pyramids, by the way, is not a grave or a tomb. It's some kind of component on a circuit board for the electric free energy system they used. Here, another brick wall, and just see the rock balloons. Just see here. Look at the goddamn rock balloons here. Rock balloons. Heat expansion. They blew up like balloons. And you know how bricks are supposed to be horizontal. You can see here. Popcorn blocks here. Wavy. Yeah, see the damage. This is completely damaged. This was never intended to look like this. Never. Just look how disgusting it is. This is heat damage coming from the bottom, climbing up here. Most of the heat, most likely here in this bottom area, creating these rock balloons, turning them into big ass boulders. Some of them balloon rocked a little up here as well, as you can see, and no red color left, cooked out. Here, look at the popcorn blocks starting to pop out from the wall. And here, another building, very damaged, but you can see the pockets of survival here. Here is a wall going up here, some more stuff here, and something on the top. And this is, just look at the destruction. This used to be a beautiful, gorgeous, enormous building, and now it just turned into what they call mountain. They think they built on top of a mountain here. But this whole thing was a building. This is swelling, heat expansion, and mangling of the bricks. It's destruction. You are looking at this total destruction of a building here. Just tiny sections of the building survived. Another pocket of survival here. Used to be a red brick, but now it got so cooked it looks very muddy here. This looks very muddy. More solid at the bottom maybe, and looks very muddy here. Doesn't look so very hard anymore. This is a pocket of survival, and this is, you can see the brick lines here. You see it's all horizontal lines here. And yeah, this almost turned into mud, it looks like, and that's how we get what many people call the mud floods. Because if this was cooked a little longer, this would all start to flow, you know, flow down and create a brick flood or melt flood. Here is another interesting pocket of survival. Very good evidence here. You can see this whole thing here turn into what they call a mountain. This is the building that's starting to melt. Look here, it's starting to melt over this section of the building, creating a rock curtain here. And you can see here how the heat also came from the bottom up to here, about here. And just see how the building is merging into this so-called mountain, right? This is a pocket of survival, and this is a melted building here, behind it, and over it here. It's starting to bury it. You would never build like this, it's impossible. You always level the ground when you build. Even a dumbass monkey man would have understood that, and they didn't even exist. Another wall, and you see the same kind of damage. Bricks turn into blocks and stones, but here many of the bricks survived. Many of these bricks, as you can see, all over the place, but some of them turned into stones and blocks. Blocks at the bottom. It looks like they melt, become viscous, but they still kind of remain their shape. The bricks just melt together when they are viscous to create bigger blocks, right? To have more mass to create these blocks here. You'll see all kinds of different damage. It's crazy, this event. Melted red bricks can do magic tricks. Another survival here, pocket of survival. This is bricks. They lost their color. You see some opening here, some opening here, and this is all, just look, it looks like goddamn concrete. But it is concrete. It's concrete and bricks and mortar and all that stuff melting. And here, this is at the Giza Plateau again. You see one of the big pyramids in the back. Here is a smaller pyramid, and the bricks just turn into blocks here, and here they are all melting together into one chunk. One chunk here. This is all heat damage. This is this so-called sand around here at the bottom. That's building ash. That's like the last stage of the melting. When they are so thoroughly cooked, the bricks, they just turn liquid into like a lava bath of melted building. This structure here was all surrounded by liquid melted building, and then the heat got away and it densified and broke apart into small grains of what they call sand. But it's ash, it's building ash, it's no carbon-14 left. It can't hold any moisture, nothing can live here, nothing can grow here of the plants and shit. This is damage, it's Armageddon. Here again, they think this is mountains, and the mainstream narrative, of course, tells us they carved into this, but that have been tested in modern days, and it's impossible. And just look at it, come on. This is like the roofs, the typical spire roof you see all over the place. Windows and openings, doors, so all melted buildings, and it's rock solid. Pockets of survival, barely this one. This is almost beyond recognition here. You have the openings, of course, but a little more of the meltdown, this would all have been closed up and covered. Yeah, look at this one. This is a good one. This is a very good one. Do you see the structure? You see this typical roof they used to have here. This is a rounded cylinder tower here with some window structure. Some of it turned into blocks here. See some columns inside here. It's just a melted building. Melted red brick building, guys. Just see the destruction. And in the back as well. This is all buildings. This is all buildings. There is no such thing as land here anymore. It's way down under the ground. Just look at it. Melted building. And again, you see the same. Openings here, windows, the roofs, all red brick. You can still see some of the red color left in it. And just look, it looks like melting ice cream here, right? I know you can see it if you want to. See flow lines here, flowing waves, layer upon layer of flow, all melted buildings. And here you see a pocket of survival here. Nobody carved anything. This section here survived for some reason, and something on top survived, but the rest got mangled. This was most likely just a cylinder tower, you know, but it got completely damaged here as well. Heat expansion, swelling, so all melted red bricks, melted together, total devastation. And here you see this thing again, just from another angle, and you see the flow coming here, flowing over, rock curtaining here, and down here, all melt. Look at the melt. This is melted bricks, guys. This is what you need to understand. This is the pocket of survival. You would never build here under here. You would put the building here or something instead, right? Not inside here, inside the goddamn rock solid thing like that. And this in the back is also, background is also a melted building. That's flowing down, melting down here. Very justified, of course. Turn into mud, sand, all kinds of different materials and minerals. And this one I showed you a little glimpse of earlier, and yeah, this is very obvious, you guys. Okay, do you see the melt on top here? Here, see the melt? All red bricks melting down, and this section here survived. See the columns, nobody carved it. It's just a pocket of survival, and it goes under here as well. And this area here was liquid building. Okay, a little lake here of liquid building, and then it densified and broke apart into small grains of sand. Just look at sand through a microscope. You can even see tiny pieces of brick in there, and some of them crystallized, and it did a lot of crazy shit. But it's all melted buildings. Look at it. And here is an example of how the red bricks do magic tricks, okay? Because you see up to here on this one, and up to here on this one. Here they are starting to rock balloon and do other stuff, but here they just form perfect blocks. It looks like it was intentional, right? But this is what the X Factor did. The heat came up to the bottom, up to here mostly, and from the bottom up to here mostly, and cooked them. It looks like they conformed to some kind of grid heat field or something. Turn into big perfect blocks. But at the top they still remained as bricks. Very damaged, but still bricks. And you see the plants can grow in this and eat the carbon-14 and live here. And you got something in the back as well. Very damaged. Very buried too. See how uneven the ground is? This is because of the brick flood. So it's flowing down here. Flowing away from the building. It's building melt. It's not earth. This is not Mother Earth you're seeing here. It's building ash. And this one, we have seen similar results of the X Factor before. You see some of the bricks surviving everywhere here, and some of them turning into blocks, and some of them turning into stones and rocks. Nobody built like this. And again, I don't need to draw on this one, you can see for yourself. You see many red bricks, that's still red bricks, just slightly changed in shape, right? A little damaged of course, but they still remained as the red brick. And then you have the goddamn other stuff here. Look at the damage here. Look what happened to the bricks. Look how cooked it is. It's all destruction. This realm is devastated, okay? And back to Egypt. This is what they call hieroglyphs, but they are not hieroglyphs. They are just a layer of concrete molds on the exterior of the red brick, okay? So this structure, the core of it is all red bricks, then a thin layer of exterior concrete finish, as you can see here, and then concrete molds with different designs on here. Nobody carved these hieroglyphs in here, it's nonsense. The answer is so simple. It's just concrete molds put on the exterior. And this is the cathedral in Barcelona, right? Portugal? Yeah, not Barcelona. I don't know. Yeah, I don't remember. Doesn't matter. It's somewhere in this realm. And this is from the old wall. Looks like some kind of electric power plant machine of some kind. They say they have built on it for a very, very long time, but they haven't really. It was already here. We just inherited it. But do you see the melt of the concrete here? Do you see the damage? The official narrative says it was a fire or some shit, but fire don't do this to concrete and bricks. It doesn't happen. This is something else. This is damaged. You can see how it looks cooked here, scorched and shit. And here, this is a crazy one, because you can see how it got layers of heat that follows. Here, fuck the bricks, turn them into stones. And here, just look, this is destruction. That's what I mean with this event. Some of the bricks survived, they are perfectly fine, as you can see. In the arch here, on the side, all the way, goes all the way. Perfect bricks here, and here. You see? That's what I can't understand why it happens like this sometimes, but that's what it did. It's very unexplainable, this event, but can you see how cooked it is and disgusting it is? It's damaged as fuck, guys. It's damaged so badly. Look how dry it is and cooked and turned into blocks here. Just look at it, it's disgusting. And then you see this in the background, completely fine. So sometimes it was very selective. Why it has these different layers here, I don't know. But you see the damage, just look at it. Look at this. Open mind here. Do you think this is pretty? And when they can build this perfect brick thing in the back and lay perfect bricks here, do you think they would put these disgusting stones in different layers like this and fit them in there? No. Of course not. This, just look, it's disgusting. I have to move on. Ugh. And this is what we call a Tetris wall. This is also when the bricks get heat expanded and they melt together to gain more mass to create these big ass blocks here. You can see it's damaged. It's damaged. It was never cut here and fit together perfectly like some people believe. This was all big ass blocks, kind of viscous still, but still remained there, but not enough to you know, start to flow. They still remained as blocks. And then it started to sink down on itself, as you can see here. The weight of this on top, this started to sink down on these viscous blocks under it, creating these patterns here that fits perfectly together, but it was never built like this. This is damaged. Just look at it. Look here. And here. It's cooked bricks that did this. This event is insane. And here, this is the bricks just turned into stones. And if it cooked a little longer, all of those would most likely melt together and form a block here that would look like it was, you know, a block that would have gone something like this, and it would fit perfectly. Okay? You understand, right? See the shapes here it formed. But this was never built like this. It's easy to understand when you understand the X factor. Here, more red bricks, a lot of red color left, but they turn into blocks here. And some rock ballooning, rocks, big block here. Lost its color here, cooked. This is damaged. You can see just recognize the architecture. You have seen plenty of these previously. These square towers with this on the top. It's built by the same people. Just this one got very, very damaged. It cracked here on the side, as you can see. And yeah, it's just damaged. This is all brick flood here. This is melted buildings, all of this. Look here. Here was a building melted like ice cream, started to flow away. This was a building. It's all. You can still see a lot of the red color in here. Where does it come from? The red bricks, of course. This is not land. This is destruction. What you are looking at here is complete devastation of the buildings. This isn't pretty. This is destroyed. There is nothing left here. It's not the earth. This is not land. Okay? Another good example of bricks getting very mangled, turned into stones, as we have seen plenty of times now already. Very melted here, and stuff can still grow here. Stuff can grow here and eat the carbon-14 and live here, as you can see. This is an old wall structure, very damaged, barely anything left, but we have a small pocket of survival. Yeah. This is all just melted red brick. I know you can see it, right? A little bit at least. You just need to view it from this perspective as melted buildings, melted red brick, and it's not that difficult to understand. If you just want to accept that your whole life was a lie, that is. More melting. Look here, that's melted. Come on. All melted buildings. Melted buildings. Do you think this is a natural formation? Right? It's not. It's melted buildings. And here more circuit board. This is the cathedral I showed you earlier, just from above. It's huge. And you see how it's all set up like a circuit board. And here you see many red bricks still here intact. Little damage, of course. And then you have the blocks turn into blocks here. More bricks here. Windows got swollen shut. Heat expansion from the sides, you know. So now it's just a tiny opening there. Rock balloon. And it also is buried by brick flood, melt flood here. Because it was buildings everywhere around here, right? And they melted, turned liquid, started to flow around here, around this building, surrounding it, and then it densified, and now people think it's mud. For some reason. Another wall, don't need to say too much here. This brick is almost perfect. And you see the bricks here, this one started to expand. Look at it here. You don't mold the bricks like that. You make them like that. And the mold is exactly the same every time. All the bricks are identical. So why are they so fucked here? Heat damage. Look here, all this starting to melt together. All this, look at the concrete. It's all a mess here. Another melted building. Very obvious. Can we call this a pocket of survival? Yeah, I guess so. You see the roof structure here, all melted of course, some columns to hold it all up, and yeah, it's destroyed. They think it's carved. Another melted building. Just see how it's flowing down here, dripping down, viscous holes from the top, on the top here, holes forming when it was viscous, dripping down, look at it. And of course building ash here. This was all a big lake of building melt surrounding this building, all cooked here, all destroyed, building ash. It's not sand. And here you see some of these statues, and you can see the core here was red brick, and then they just put some wet concrete on the outside. Sometimes also concrete molds on the outside to create statues of elephants and shit. Nobody carved anything. You just gotta look for the red bricks, okay? It was all red brick. Whoa, look at this one. This one is obvious. Here we have some kind of column thing. This was the building, and you can see how it tilted to the side. You can see how it's angled this way, right? But it's supposed to be straight up. So this started to sink down into the ground. It tipped over. And just look at the mess around here. It's all melted red bricks, guys. Here, brick lines, mangled brick lines, cooked brick lines, turned into block lines here. Heat expansion, damaged. Not natural, it's cooked and destroyed bricks. And here you see a window, and the bricks here around the window was almost not touched, but further out here you see rock balloons, stones and shit. And I believe that's because of, you know, the heat climbed through the building itself, right? And it reached here and around here and on the bottom. But here it didn't, because here is less brick to travel through, right? So here the bricks only get heat from this side, not here. So that's why this brick survived. It's what I think. And here, very obvious melted bricks starting to drip down and then densifying mid-air. Melted bricks in action here. Same thing, just another angle. Melting down, dripping down. What can do this to bricks? Right? This is the cathedral again, just further away. Just look at the magnificent construction. They were incredible builders compared to what we have today. But see the melt here, see the melt. Heat damage and melt. Dripping down here. Melted concrete, damage, destruction. And this one got damaged. This was a big ass building, and look here, you can even see the bricks. You see the bricks here? And you see some brick lines here. And it just melted down. And, you know, starting to flow down. And this is all liquid building here, turned into sand, dustified. This was a building, not a natural formation. That's insanity. Grand Canyon, pocket of survival here. You see the bricks, windows, and the rest is just melted into a big chunk. Here as well, melted buildings. You see the bricks here. And they say, this canyon was carved out from the water flowing here for billions of years and all that stuff, right? It's nonsense. Just use your head, okay? This is just a building here and a building here, and this is like the ground level. And the water comes from the irrigation system of these buildings, because they are still intact for some reason. I'll show you more later. Water still flows from these buildings. Here, cooked and totally destroyed bricks, but you still see some of the bricks. Here you see some bricks, little bit there. Here this is starting to expand. Tiny fractions of bricks here. A little bit in this area, but the rest disgusting. Heat damage. Turn into a big block here. And here you see the archway. Big arch, big building, all melted. All melted. No such thing as mountains, guys. And then flooded, of course. Flood waters here. Yeah, more melted than viscous bricks. Okay, so here is, guess, a melted building. Do you think anybody would go through the effort to carve this? Which again have been tested and it's just impossible. But just think about this. How we are told they were primitive people in the past, and don't you think they would be more worried about gathering food and shit instead of spending like, I don't know how much time it would take to carve this with hand tools, but yeah, makes no sense, guys. It's just a melted building, you know. Why carve this when it takes so long, so difficult to carve into here? Why carve this for no reason? And these details here, right? We have seen this detail in the architecture of the buildings I have shown you. This is just the remains. It's just a melted building. On the top, very mangled. Here you can still recognize the structure itself. It's not a mountain. And this one, I love this one. I love to show it. Shown it many times before in my older videos. This is, yeah, you see the architecture similar to what we have seen, of course, from the old world. But you can see how the bricks turn into blocks here. And around here they started to get swollen. Heat expansion here. Just look at the ugly ass thing here. Turn into rocks, stones. Heat expansion here as well. But inside here you see the bricks still. Here you can see some of the bricks. And when we go up here to the top, bam! Same architecture as before. Perfect red bricks. The top survived. And the rest didn't do so well. But it's still a building, you can still use it, but it's damaged very, very badly. And this is the one we saw in Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon must have so many pockets of survival. There is a reason why we can't go there and explore independently. So what you see here is the brick lines. See the block lines turn into block lines here. Here is another opening. Door, window, here is some more openings. This was a goddamn red brick building, guys. And it just got completely mangled. Here is the bricks. Just a little bit survived, not much. Rest is totally destroyed. And here, look at this whole thing melted. Melted into one big chunk. And you got the pockets of survival here. Red brick, all of it. Why build up here? You can't even get the fuck up there. It's nonsense. Don't watch television, guys. They are lying to you. I promise, they are lying. So here, another building, similar to the one we saw, just it had more building ash around. But yeah, you see the red color turn into block lines here. Cutting vertical blocks as well. Sometimes the X Factor like to do that, because it was a crazy event. And Justified at the top. Still a little carbon 14. Still available for the plants to live here. Red ground here, because it's red brick. It's not the earth. It's not the earth. We don't know what the earth look like. Here we see this kind of thing again that we saw earlier, where you have these layers, right? Blocks, 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 all the way, all the goddamn way here. It's crazy. I do not know. I don't have an explanation to why this happened, but we have seen this. I have seen this many times. I've seen thousands of pictures of melted buildings like this. And you see this layer shit happen. I don't know why. I really don't know. There is a lot about this X Factor that I don't know. I just know that it happened, and that's what I'm trying to explain to you here. So yeah, you see the red brick, the arches, the typical old world stuff. And this is all building ash now at the ground, brick flood. It's surrounded. Look at these low things here. You can't walk properly through here. It's buried. It's buried. And here, yeah, you start to see the thing. I hope so. The arch. The bricks are still there. Here, turn into stone. All destroyed. Arches, still red brick. This one as well. Here, totally destroyed. Some bricks up on top here. And building ash. This man is walking on building ash. All destroyed building. What can do this to a building? And here as well. This one was very viscous. You see the holes forming here from when it was viscous. Do you think this is a natural formation? Come on, guys. You see brick lines. They started to tilt a little. Yeah, just melted buildings. All of this. And here as well. Yeah, that's a good one. Just look how it all looks like concrete here. Again, nobody carved anything. It's just a building. Concrete and red bricks. Pocket of survival here. You got rock balloons here, down here, all a mess. This is a very good evidence. You just need to look at it with the right eyes, okay? And that's what I'm trying to help you with here. Have you ever thought the thought that it could have been melted buildings before I told you so? No, that's right. So that's why I'm telling you, so you can see it from that perspective and understand what you're looking at here. Another old world building. And here as well, pocket of survival on the top, and the rest is just melted. See, it's getting swollen here. See the wall here starts to get heat expanded and swollen. All a pocket of survival on the top. This is not a mountain. It's damage. It's very ugly. And yeah, look here. Another melted building. Still got plenty of red color left. See here, it's dripping down. You gotta be able to see this is melted, I hope. when I explain it like I do. Bricks at the bottom here. Look at the bricks. So all the evidence you need, guys. And look at this one. God damn. The X Factor cooked the living dog shit out of this one. Just look. This is the same architecture. The arch. These rounded towers. But just look at this goddamn rock balloons here. Look at those. It's crazy. This is so destroyed. See the rock balloons. All this was red bricks. Rock balloons. Blocks. Rock balloons. God damn, these got cooked well. Damage. Heat damage, guys. And this is the inside of one of these old walled buildings. And yeah. There is no words to describe this beauty. Just see how incredible and magnificent it is. This is in good condition. You see the domed roof. You see the details here. All this is bricks covered with concrete molds and exterior concrete finish. And then you have the incredible pipe organs. I have a video on this, and we believe them to be not just instruments, but healing machines of frequency. How the vibrations are filling the room here and passing your body, your avatar, to heal you. They call them organs, right? Maybe it's a reason for it. Just look more into the history of organs. Of course, they give us the mainstream bullshit narrative, but yeah, this is incredible technology from the old world. And here, more red bricks, cooked and fucked, turned into stones. Rock ballooning here, heat expansion, turned into big stones. Some of them rocks, some of them stones, some of them boulders. And this whole thing up here. All this was red bricks. Now it's not anymore. Now it's totally destroyed. Yeah, look at this one. Some pocket of survival here. A little bit. And then, yeah, just look at the melt. Rock ballooning all over the place here. Look at that shit. This is damage. This is not natural formation. Come on. Just look at it. And here, more red bricks. Most of them lost its original structure, as you can see. But it still remained very red. See here, start to get heat expanded here. Turn into bigger blocks here. And of course, the building in the back. Damaged. This is not a natural formation. There is no tectonic plates here. It's a lie. And here again, pocket of survival. But this one turned into the Tetris pattern that I explained earlier. It's the same thing. Very red at the top still. Not so red down here. A little bit. But you get these patterns because all this was viscous. But still remained its structure as blocks. So it sunk down on itself here. And created these weird ass shapes. Tetris wall. Here, a big mess of melted brick. Here you gotta be able to see the melt, I hope. Look at this. Turned into blocks and all melted. Melted, melted. Look at this. This is melted. Come on. Do you see it? And yeah, look at this one. Doesn't that look like a goddamn house? The ones we have seen before. Look at here. The roof here. This was maybe a window here, but of course it melted down. It got closed off. A door here. The typical mushroom roof here. Spire thing. Free energy. And yeah, it's just buildings. All of this is. All of this is buildings. But just look at this one. Melted bricks and concrete. Same thing here. You see the roof here. And here. An opening a little bit. This was a building. We've seen this architecture. We can recognize this. Here is something. An opening. This one melted. All melted. And we also find shit from the old world underwater. Statues and shit. How come? The flood. This place is flooded, guys. People used to walk here before. This is a street with statues and shit, and now it's flooded. And we got caves, which is just, you know, you see the scale of some of these buildings, because they are mountains now. Just imagine they had to have pretty big rooms in the buildings, right? So when it melted, as you can see from the ceiling, some of the rooms didn't collapse under the meltdown. And that's why we have what they call caves. This is the inside of an old wall building. And this one as well. And here you can clearly see the red bricks dripping down from the ceiling. And it's underwater. How do you do that underwater? That's impossible, right? That's why it's flooded. The water came in after. You can't melt bricks like that underwater. So the flood is real. The flood that everybody is talking about is real. Another melted building. Entrance here, a door, arch, window, more openings here. Here they turn into blocks, the goddamn bricks here as well. And here, look at this mess. It's just a melted building. Look here, you can see the arch. Bricks turn into blocks and stones. And this one more melting into one chunk here. Got the arch, just like here. And something in the background as well. Just melted buildings. And this, very good evidence. Tons of pockets of survival. But this one didn't do so well. And also, look how buried it is. This is the brick flood coming here. Brick flood coming here and burying all of this stuff. Surrounding it in liquid building. Look here in the back. Big melted building. And here, pocket of survival. Turn into blocks and you can see how it goes fucking inside this building melt. This melted. This is incredible evidence. Okay, use your head now. You see how this is all melted, but this, look here. This one still goes in here, right? And you can see the column that's supposed to hold it up is going here. So it goes in, God knows how long. This one as well. Got buried in its own building melt. This is the thing we saw in the background, I think. And do you know what it is? That's right. Melted building. And here, brick lines, brick lines, brick lines, brick lines. Not a natural formation. Okay. And look at this one. Look what happened to the bricks. Look at those fucking blocks here. Look what happened, guys. Look what happened to the bricks. Heat expanded into big blocks. Look at the damage here. See some columns here. The whole ceiling is missing. The whole everything is just, it's totally destroyed. All this was red bricks. Building ash here. That's destruction. Okay, so here is a cave. One second. I don't need to draw on this one, but as I said earlier, caves are just rooms of old world buildings that hasn't collapsed during the melt. But just look how melted this looks, right? Are you starting to see the repeated patterns? And how the mainstream narrative is completely bullshit. Another good example of brick lines turned into block lines here. And it's supposed to be horizontal, so this one this one tipped over as well. So the block lines and brick lines goes like this now. So it tipped over, but you can see the bricks. Just look here. So all the red bricks, guys. And this one started to turn into what they call mud. It looks like mud, or a little sand and a little mud on the top here. Okay, so that's where the so-called mud floods came from. Okay, and this is an interesting pocket of survival here, because you can see this wall structure, the arches here. You see, hold on, I'm gonna draw. You see some arches that used to be here. They got melted shut. But then, you know, the whole building melt just comes here. Starts to flow, heat expand, all that, and it starts to cover this part of the building. You can see how it's fused into the so-called mountain here. Nobody built like this, guys. It's a pocket of survival. This is a melted building. You can even, guys, look here, up here. Can you see the bricks here? In this area, and even a little bit of red color here as well. This is evidence, guys. I'm not joking around, okay? Here it is, close up. Just see how it's fused in here. Because this melted over here. It started to cover it from the sides. Okay? That's what happened here. So this is just a pocket of survival. Another one in Jordan, I think it is. And yeah, it's a melted red brick building. I'm gonna start going a little bit quicker because you should be able to see the patterns by now. Otherwise this video will be like 8 hours long and nobody will watch that. Here is the inside of one of these old wall buildings, and just look how incredibly beautiful it is. It's crazy, guys. This is all woodwork. Wood here, wooden arch, wooden railings. It's just wild how beautiful they lived. And this is a pocket of survival here, and it's just surrounded by another huge melted building. Building here, and this one survived. I don't know why, okay? That's the thing, but if we can get more people onto this, quest for truth, then maybe we can find out someday. Here again, not carved. This is a melted building. You see the same, you just gotta recognize the architecture. It's in the melt here, with the arches. You got some bricks in here, turned into blocks. And more arches, columns, all that stuff, you know. That's how we know. So, again, if you carve this, why the fuck would you do this? Make all this design. If you are so primitive to that you have to carve your goddamn home into a so-called mountain, the only thing you need to carve is a hole so you can stay in there, right? You don't need to spend a lot of energy and time and effort to make all this. That's because it's not carved, it's just a melted building. And this is a very good evidence how we live on top of building melt, because this bridge here survived. You have a few pockets of survivals here on the top. And it goes way down here. And this part here, completely melted here and here. And you can see water flowing still from these buildings. Irrigation flowing. This water is very pure, very clean, and it flows from these buildings all year long. And it doesn't come from any lakes, it doesn't come from any rain or snow melting, it just flows out. So for some reason the irrigation system and water systems, plumbing system, whatever you call it, are still intact in many of these melted buildings. Why? I don't know. Inside another room of a melted building, they call it cave, but you can see the red bricks dripping down here and then densifying mid-air. Okay, and you got water again flowing from the buildings. You know just how beautiful the electric city of Tartaria used to be. They probably had a lot of, you know, water streams, man-made water streams, fountains, all that stuff to make it look beautiful, because you can do cool stuff with water. And here, this is a pocket of survival bridge, goes from one melted building to another. That's what they did. You didn't need to take the, you know, these buildings were so huge. You didn't need to take the elevator down, enter another building and go up. You just crossed from building to building. You could live on all kinds of floors here. And another beautiful building from the old world. And here you get a pocket of survival in here. This wall, you see the door and the archway here. And this used to be towers, you know, with the roofs here, all that stuff, but completely mangled, of course. I hope you start to see this now. And here as well, pocket of survival, bricks turned into blocks, and also a melt flood coming down this way. You see how uneven the ground is here, right? Coming down. Melt flood. Another melted building with some pockets of survival all over it here. See some of the red color, carbon 14, and just a very cooked building. It's not a mountain. Here again, pocket of survival, and the heat came from the bottom. Started to climb up here, you see how it's starting to get swollen here, the wall. You know, this is a building that's supposed to go down. I don't know how far, but just see how mangled it is here in this area. Starts to melt, you know. Heat expansion, melting. Nobody built on top of here. See how it's fused into the so-called mountain all the way around here. Right? It's just a pocket of survival. It's not a mountain here. And here you can see some rock balloons where the carbon-14 red color is getting squeezed out. Here you see the gray stone color, but here you see the concentrated red color from the red bricks, of course. You know, why are rocks like this supposed to be red naturally? Just think, people. I'm explaining what's happening here. And this is bricks. They are supposed to be horizontal, but they got spaghettied a little bit when the building collapsed on itself. But you clearly see the bricks in here. Okay. Do you see the melt? Do not ask me why this one and this one are untouched. But just look at the rest of them surrounding here. That's the thing you need to understand with this X Factor event. It was so crazy. It made the bricks do all kinds of different things. Rock ballooning, popcorn blocking, turning into big blocks, starting to form vertical columns. And sometimes you just have the pockets of survival in the middle of a melt, like here. It's a very crazy event. Here you can see some bricks here. This one got very melted, and then just look in the background here. Looks like a castle, right? Because that's what it was, a building. Just another example of their beautiful architecture. And this is also buried. You have windows down here. Most of these buildings are buried. Another old wall building. Looks like a electric something, right? Just look at this tower. It looks like it can do something electric. A component on a circuit board is what it is. Another old wall building. A little heat damaged, of course. And you just notice the copper roofs here. Why put copper roof? Because copper can conduct electricity very well. It's technology. And it's also flooded. Another one. Notice the domes here, the architecture, the arches. It's undeniable. It's all built by the same people. The inside of another one here. It's beautiful, right? It's incredible. And we are told the ancient people were dumb when they can do this. Compare this to the modern buildings and tell me who's dumb. Yeah, some columns just standing here. Looks like yeah, it's missing a whole part of the building here, of course. But these columns looks like how it's connected to the grid below on the circuit board. This is all red bricks covered with exterior concrete finish. And excuse me. And yeah, you see the bricks here turned into blocks. We got viscous holes here, just damaged. See here. And you got something out here in the floodwaters on the level horizon here. Another very damaged building. It's the same kind of buildings. Arches, windows, arched windows. Here is something. Doorways maybe. Just very damaged. This isn't done by cannonballs, guys. Just see the thickness of these walls, etc. These buildings are so durable. Another pocket of survival here, and here you get this layering again, which we have seen before. You got blocks, 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 and then bricks, 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 etc. I don't know why, but that's what it did. And you see the bricks here. Bricks in the arch. Here turned into blocks again. Another one. Damn, these buildings are damaged. Notice here. See the bricks? And here, starting to turn into blocks here. Got a brick down here. Turn into rocks. More bricks. Red brick. That's all this used to be. Red brick. Rocks here. And yeah, you see the damage. I think you're starting to see what I'm trying to say, so I don't need to go in too much detail. And yeah, the arch, the bricks. You got bricks up here, got bricks in there. Here you have a brick. You have a red brick here. You have bricks in here. You have bricks in here. Yeah. Do you understand? In the back here you have. These was all red bricks, but now it's heat damaged, so we got this disgusting looking thing now. And this is all building flood here. The ground. It's not mud. And here you see the red bricks clearly, and how the heat came up here and mangled the bricks. Rock ballooning here, turned them into rocks, or balloon rocks. And this one was also hit very hard at the top. In here, as you can see, did the same thing. And here, see how it's starting to expand here and deform the bricks. They're starting to change shape here. And on this side as well, starting to get swollen. This turned into a big red block here as well. Big red blocks here. But it was all bricks, you can see it here in the background. Inside another of the rooms of one of these melted buildings. Just see the melt, the dripping. Do you understand what you're looking at here? How everything was a lie? Another amazing old world building. Looks like technology to me, guys. Up in the air here, looks electric. Lots of antennas for the ether, etheric energy. And the arches, tons of columns here. And then, of course, everybody have seen this one. Looks like some device. And you can see how it's leaning. Because the ground started to melt. It was all viscous melted ground here. So it started to tip over. But then it densified before it fell over. And that's why we have this leaning tower. Very easy, very simple, guys. And here, very similar to the one we saw not very long ago. Heat coming up here, starting to mangle and rock ballooning all these red bricks. And it came this far, and then you have the bricks on top. And here it's starting to churn the bricks as well. Creating a mess here, tons of popcorn blocks here, popcorn bricks I mean. Just a mess of building melt here. A big solid chunk here of melted bricks and concrete. And here more brick flood here. Turn into this muddy looking material. Which is just a building. Just a building, it's not land. Pocket of survival here, and just see how melted and mangled it got here. Heat expansion and swelling. Just really fucking up the building. This is all buildings. Everything you see in this photo is buildings. Here. This was melted building flood down here. This was all big buildings melted out. All cooked on a fucking ocean of building melt down here. Here is another one. And here you see an example of how these big columns are just the red bricks. Here the exterior concrete finish have fallen off by time and damaged. Maybe it melted off, I don't know. And just see the bricks here, what happened to them. Turned into these ugly stones here. And here. And you see something in the back as well, bunch of columns. Just compare it with a circuit board, and it looks like a component. And here, again, just melted buildings. You see some of the openings still. And here, pocket of survival here. And just, yeah, you see the melt. Another one, pocket of survival, starting to get buried in itself, the building melting from above, coming over it, and then densifying before it was completely covered up here, creating a rock curtain over it. Another component on a circuit board or building, and yeah, look at this, look at the heat from the bottom here, like up to about there. And just see how swollen and mangled it is. Here, just look at that. Totally cooked and melted. Pocket of survival. The building here. Section of the building here is completely melted, and this one is not. I don't know why. And here, lots of red bricks, and what you notice here is how it's, you know, starting to fall down here. It was all flowing here, viscous and moving and flowing bricks starting to fall down and then densifying, frozen in time mid-air. Look, just look here, before it hit the ground or fell off. See the dripping? And also notice how the water is flowing out in big amounts all year long. You will see this water flow, and it's very, very clean water, as you can see. Very good water to drink this. It's very good for you. See here, building. Another impossible to build building, because it wasn't built this way. It's a pocket of survival. Heat coming up, as usual. Usually it's from the bottom, came up this far, and it got swollen, mangled, and destroyed. And also inside here, very cooked and damaged. More red bricks, starting to get mangled, turning into block lines here. Building ash on the bottom. These so-called stones here were churning in this liquid building lava in the bottom. That's why they are so rounded and smooth. They were just laying in this liquid building melt, getting cooked. You see some openings here. Arches, doorways, whatever it is, and then brick lines, brick lines, brick lines. It's a building. And here, lots of pockets of survival, but also lots of melt all around this area here. This is the big one, melted building. And in the back, very, very melted. Just turned into this. Sand. Dustified buildings. Look at this tower. Looks like a antenna. This one has many antennas. It's a device of some kind, a power plant or something. They call it cathedrals and shit now, but that's nonsense. Pocket of Survival, another impossible to build thing. This was all red bricks, and now it's just this mess. So, there was my explanation of some good examples of the melted buildings. I could have shown you 1,000 more pictures, but again, I can't make the video too long because nobody would watch it. I hope you understood at least a little bit of what I just explained to you in this documentary. You need to look at it with an open mind, and I'm sure it will be obvious to you as well very soon. Just look. Here is a depiction of what they call the Tower of Babel. See the size of this thing. All built by red bricks and concrete molds. If this one melted, it could easily turn into a mound of building melt, or what they call mountains. So just think about all this kind of stuff. And if you're interested, I do have more videos on my YouTube channel where I explain this. I also sometimes do live streams on there. Just keep researching, keep asking questions, right? So I'm about to wrap things up and end this video. I might make more documentaries in the future, cause it was actually quite fun to make this one. I learned all the video editing while making this video on the go, so I hope it wasn't too unpleasant to look at and listen to. I would like to end this documentary by saying thank you to everyone who's watching and sharing this. Thank you to Jerry for helping me see this reality for what it is. His YouTube channel is When the Buildings Cried. Thank you to Derek for sharing the word. His YouTube channel is Spartan Red. Thank you to all my friends on the different censored social media platform. And thank you so much to everyone who has donated to support my work. Thank you all for your love and your support. Feel free to download and share this documentary with people you think it can be useful for. So that's all from me this time. So until we speak next time, make sure you're always good, you're always nice, and turn off your television. One love.